All right, good morning, chat. Hope you guys are having a good day. Um, I'm Onhatch, and today I'm gonna give you guys a master class in how to play Helldivers because I'd say I'm kind of decent at the game. So I'm just gonna run through a short game that I did. I launched in. I landed a little like I guess like 2 minutes after the match started. So I'm just gonna talk through this because I thought that'd be a little interesting video. But yeah, without a further ado. So starting off, I called in an auto cannon to boot because that was like a decent weapon. Well, yeah, I'll tell you. I'll start with my loadout while in the meantime, I'm just finding the location for the objective. But yeah. So my loadout, I think I ran this was Eagle Airstrike, orbital laser, and an auto cannon, and I used the adjudicator or whatever that assault rifle is, grenade pistol, and I use impact grenades. So that's my build. I'm just headshotting some robots here, but that's just generally what I go for. Now this match, I'm not perfect at the game, but this should be a pretty decent. I think it teaches good things because you'll see at the end my performance in the match was pretty good. But my main things that I go for is samples. Here I'm just fighting. I think this is the communication uplink. So that's the first thing that I'll talk about is I'm always playing the objective. Like the objective is the most important thing. Like of course there are samples and there's like extra things that you can complete, but you want to be on top of the objective. You don't want to like complete the final step because that increases spawn rates at the end, but you do want to do focus on the objective primarily, which you see my teammates, they aren't actually doing that right now. They're kind of just off to the side, which I mean is good as long as they're being productive, that's good, but I'm the only one that's actually doing the objective right now. So we go through here and I'm just playing. I mean really the only things I'm doing here is just working on the objective. But what I'll say is how I would look at Helldivers, if you aren't thinking of it in this way, is that it's a movement shooter, if that kind of makes sense. Because that, I don't know, I just believe that with how mobile you can be and how many different movement things they have, like diving, and how you're able to like have like omnidirectional sprinting, what I mean by that is you're able to just run in every direction, is very important. So right here I notice a detector tower. Now if you don't know what a detector tower is if it spots you, it constantly calls in a bot drop. So what I do is I use my most powerful stratagem, the orbital laser, and I want to get this thing out of here as soon as possible because this is a massive issue. You can get easily overwhelmed if that thing is allowed to get too far. So I do my best. I call in the orbital laser, I clear it out. I'm shooting a rocket devastator here. So while I'm clearing this, I sell I sell it a little bit. But one important thing that you'll see here, and actually real quick, notice also pro tip, if you get lit on fire, which I'm gonna get lit on fire again here, is if you dive, it puts the fire out. So just keep that in mind. Calling a hell bomb here. But yeah, so what I was saying, the priority of enemies is also very important because you don't want to be just going for like random crap. So what I would say, as far as, because I'm using an auto cannon, which means I'm most capable with attacking heavier things. Here we got a factory strider, and the factory strider, just real quick, the best way that I handle it is I just call in a bunch of stratagems, whatever I have on it, reloading. But for the auto cannon especially, I think you should be prioritizing obviously devastators and striders because they're what your gun specializes in, but I would say most importantly the heavy devastators, because those they're able to keep you down very well because what I think is kind of annoying is they are concerningly accurate in their fire in a lot of situations. Like they'll just cut you down instantly, and also it's just they're really hard for other people to kill because of that shield. So those are important. Rocket devastators would be next. They are a nuisance, and then of course the normal devastators. So I'm just calling stratagems here, trying to take out this factory strider because I'm just not very good at killing these things. But yeah, just real quick, going back to the whole movement shooter thing, I think it's really important just to know how to move correctly, how to like stay on the move, not be stationary, because if you're stationary you're gonna get killed pretty quickly. So you'll see through this entire game I'm almost moving the entire time. While other people might stay in one place working on something, I'm always moving. Here I get a little bit lost, just some a brain fart, I guess, but you know, it's just always being on the move and it's not staying still in one place. Also, another thing I have to complement that is I'm using a light armor. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's like, you know, any light armor is really good for this. So it means, you know, I have more stamina and I can run slightly faster, so it's really convenient. And I'm using the one that has servo assisted, which is a little bonus that increases your throw distance by 20% of it, I think, which is really nice and allows you to like be really good at, like, you know, of course, like just sniping like bases with a good eagle airstrike or something. But it allows what I think is one of the strongest builds is to do like flanking, because what you'll see here during this game is I spend most of the game in front of my teammates because I'm focusing on flanking around and trying to take out some of the more critical things like the like the, you know, the fabricators, or like say there's a Hulk, I try to get the back of it. So I'm always staying ahead and maintaining a really high stamina. Here there's a Hulk. Hulks are a bit of a pain because, you know, you got to be really careful. I shoot him in the head there because their little head with a red light. You got to just be really careful with hitting them. But if you are really good at the auto cannon especially, you can two-shot them, which is really nice. I just shoot the hell bomb there to blow it up. But yeah, so like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I would say if you don't really know what weapon to use, I would strongly recommend the autocannon. It's extremely fun, and if you get used to like handling it, it's extremely dangerous. So yeah, but really just going through here, and that's another thing. While I'm thinking about it, and just to keep the talking going, what I'll say is stratagems, like how quickly you're able to type in stratagem codes. It's important, but it's not like overwhelmingly important. Like you'll see here, I'm probably, no, I'm not going to reinforce, but what I'm trying to say is don't worry about how, if you're not like a very quick typer, and depending on how you have your keybind set, it's not the end of the world if you don't, you know, call in a stratagem very fast. The only stratagem that I'd say you want to actually be able to like call in with relatively quickly is the reinforced stratagem. That one, obviously, you're going to be using the most, but you just want to be able to have it down so you can do it in, you know, a split second. Now, also another thing is about keybinds, because I know it's popular. A lot of people, they do is, at least on mouse and keyboard, they switch the stratagem keybinds onto arrow keys, so you're able to like continue to call a stratagem and run at the same time, which is definitely helpful. But I don't really do that. What I do actually is I still have my stratagem set to the default keys, which are W, A, S, and D, which means I'm not able to move while I'm calling a stratagem. But you'll see, you know, through practice, I'm really fast at calling them in. So like, say for the reinforcement stratagem, sometimes I don't even stop moving and it's called in. So like, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just all about keybinds, making sure what like works well for you. Like say on my mouse, I have a G502, and I have one of the two side buttons. The rear side button is my dive key, and my front side button is my stratagem menu. So then I can just like quick open the menu. I just call in thing. You know, should have help on here. I think I sold. Yeah, I fucking sold. That's unfortunate. But you know, like it's just important to be able to do that. So like, you know, if you're just starting, or if you're still playing and you just don't know, you know, why you're calling stratagems very quick, just try stuff around. Like see if your stratagem menu button isn't the best, if it's kind of cumbersome, like you have to move around a lot. Make sure it's in a place where you can just pull it up at any instant, regardless of what's going on. That's why if you have a mouse that has side buttons that are able to be bound, I would strongly recommend that. So yeah, definitely. I recommend, yeah, like, I mean, you don't need like a ton of side buttons. I mean, I have 5 on my mouse, but you can have like 2. 2 is really good. It really doesn't matter. But you're just going through here, getting samples, and that's another important thing is you just always, samples are extremely important. Like if you're not doing the objective, you should be getting samples, or just doing other things that like generally push, like increase the progression and like the completion of the thing. I'm just getting some ammo because I was low here, but I think it's, yeah, really important, because samples, you can get some really ridiculous upgrades. Like I don't have it, but it's circuit expansion. I forget what that one does, but I know that it's crazy. So, you know, just keep working, stay locked in. This game, it was late, so I might sell a little bit here, but you'll see that eagle airstrike, I think its placement was decent, but I'll say I'll talk a little bit about strategies now while I'm just fighting through here. And just while I'm playing, keep in mind like how much I'm moving, and especially against bots, how much I'm using cover. Notice when I saw there was a lot of bots on my left and right, I fell back to this rock where I'm able to just set up, throw some stratagems, and keep myself clear. I got a bunch of light armored bots there. I can throw some good things, some grenades. I'll say impacts are really good for taking out crowds. 17 dead right there. So it's just really good placement. Again, turbo assisted, it just helps for all of this, being able to throw stuff so you're not worried about, you know, under throwing, because that is a very big issue. And so you know, that's and what you see right there, the autocannon is really nice because you're able to just shoot, you're able to one tap all fabricators and bug holes. So it's really good there. But yeah, I mean, just keep in mind, I'm using cover, I'm always moving, and I'm just keeping all bases covered. But anywho, back to stratagems. What I'll say is, so the ones that I'm using right now are the Eagle Airstrike and the Orbital Laser, which I'd argue are probably the two best stratagems in the game. And what they do, I'll start with the Orbital Laser because I'd say it's the better of the two, is 3 times per game, no more than 3, you are able to call in a laser that lasts for however long. And it just is extreme. It basically guarantees a destroyed outpost, right? It completely destroys everything. So it's very, very, very powerful. And I definitely think it's extremely good. And I would recommend it to anyone who is interested in, you know, trying it, because it, like, say if you're in a really bad situation, or like say there's a really big outpost, throwing one of those down can either outright destroy the outpost or just, you know, like thin out the crowd a little bit. And it's also really helpful, like say you're fighting and a bot drop calls in like you know, a couple tanks or a factory strider and hulks, and it's a little too much for like maybe you alone. Then an orbital laser is like very strong because it's able to like basically take out one, at the very least one of any enemy in the game, which is extremely good. It can take out, I'd say, like a couple, maybe 3 hulks at best. You can take out a full factory strider. It's very, very powerful, but you can only use it 3 times. So generally you want to time it. Like I'd say you have 1 that you're able to use during the game. I have 1 for the main objective, and I have 1 for the extraction, is what I generally balance it as. So I mean, so I sell here just because, you know, I got way too close to that suicide robot. I just tell them to drop me on my body so I can get my samples back, because I had a decent amount of samples. But yeah, so that's the orbital laser, which I strongly recommend. And I'll say Eagle Airstrike, that's another one that is also very good. It's not, it doesn't have, I mean, it does have pretty good destructive capacity, but it's not like the same as the orbital laser, which completely erases everything. What it does is it gives you a very high speed use stratagem that you're able to like clear out a lot of stuff effectively. Like say, you know, it's really good placement. It just drops in like a you know, a short line of bombs on like wherever you call it, and it's really good because it, you know, you see it right there. It's not really prone to collateral damage. Like you don't normally see, I mean, at least I don't kill many people with it because it's a relatively small area of effect, but it's still big enough that it does good damage. Here I'm just taking out the hole. Of course, you see what I mean by that flanking roll. Like I'm, you know, ahead of these guys, and it means I'm able to get behind certain enemies with weak spots and just take them out before they become an issue for the main team. So of course, this playstyle does mean I do die slightly more frequently than these guys, but you know, in the end, it keeps a lot of, you know, heat off their backs. Just get the resupply in there because I'm relatively low on autocannon ammo. But yeah, what I saying, Eagle Airstrike. So it's really good. It's really good. Yeah, for just like general use. It has, you know, good it is really good at destroying stuff. Like say, it can generally, 1 Eagle Airstrike can take out a light bot outpost. If it's like something that you don't have time to deal with, you can just throw an Eagle, and if it's placed well, you can clear out all the bots and the fabricator there. And it's really good. So I definitely strongly recommend it. It's extremely powerful, and you get to use it a ton, because that's the thing with Eagles. I only ever really run 1 Eagle stratagem per game because of that like use, that you're only able to use so many per like Eagle resupply. So I only really carry 1, and that's Eagle Airstrike, which means you get 3 of them every like certain stretch of time, and it really, really is nice. It's very helpful. So yeah, that's what I recommend. But Yeah, so since we're on the topic of my loadout, I'll just really quick go over my my primary and secondary, just to really explain stuff. So I'm using the adjudicator, I think it is. If I'm wrong on that, then it's the assault rifle that recently had a buff that made it full auto. It's a really powerful somewhat slow fire rate. You see here, I just shoot myself actually, because what I'm doing is, interestingly, I'm actually it's kind of funny. I'm actually shooting myself so that I am able to get lose a little bit of health, and I'm able to use a stim, which means that it replenishes my stamina, so I'm able to run further and for longer, which is really useful. Just use that, keep that in consideration if you ever feel like doing that. But what I'll say is yeah, the adjudicator, it's really good, as very sharp recoil. So if you're not good at recoil control, do not use this thing, because you are going to lose control of it very quickly. Like you'll see here, I'm shooting this guy, and it has a really sharp jolt up, but it definitely, if you can keep it under control, it's one of the most powerful weapons. I'd also say the sickle is very good if you can't use this, because the sickle has no recoil. But this thing, I mean, I've used the sickle a lot. I've started to prefer this thing just because of how strong it is, if you can get it off right. So, it gets a little spicy if we get a Hulk dropping right in front of us. I'm just trying to get down here and keep my ass alive, and get the auto cannon out. Try to take the Hulk. I'm hoping he gets his back exposed. I think 2 shots. Get 2 shots on his back. I'm forced to go for the head. He stuns me as well, annoyingly. So then I get him in the head, and I realize, now this, I've made a mistake here, and I realize this. The health for the back and the front of a Hulk seems to be different. Like, say, you normally have to shoot the back of a Hulk 3 times and the front of a Hulk twice to kill it. It looks like, since I shot the back 2 times, and I shot the front once, I actually need to shoot the Hulk 2 times in the front, which is really interesting. So you got to be a little bit careful with how you do that. But yeah, so we're just going here. I'll skip ahead a little bit, because right now we're just doing general escorting mission. This stuff pretty basic. Yeah, so we're done. We finish here, and you'll see again, I shoot myself, try to get my health down a little bit, because we have to run across the entire map to get to this extraction. So what I'm doing is, because I have, of course, I have the stamina booster on this, and I have light armor, and I have low health, so I'm able to use a stim, which means I'm gonna have a ton of stamina, and I'm probably gonna lose these guys, which is obviously not a great idea. But if you know what you're doing, you can kind of avoid the bots, which I think I almost run into on the left. You see this group right there, I almost run into them, which would have screwed me pretty hard. But we keep running here, and we're just gonna get going. You see I use that stim, and I make it there almost entirely off of those 2 stamina and that 1 stim. So nothing too crazy about this. I save a laser, I use it for the extraction, and in no time we're out of there. So yeah, that is just a general game. I hope you guys learned some stuff about the game, about Helldivers from that. But I would say, yeah, that's more of a more aggressive flanking role, which I think is very competitive and very good if you know how to play it correctly. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. And that's all I had for today. Have a nice day, guys.